Hello guys, and welcome to my channel. So in this video I'll be showing how I made this beautiful Bubu dress with asooke, this tribe asooke design on the neckline. So if this is something you like, if this is something you're interested in, please like, comment and subscribe. Thank you. So I have 6 yards of fabric here. I have complete 6 yards. I have asooke. I have 2 lines of asooke, and also my tape, my chalk, and my scissors and ruler. So I'll be opening up my fabric now. I'll be opening up my fabric and I'll be showing you the measurements I'm using. So I'll be making a dress of 60 inches for the length. So I'll go ahead and I'll measure 60 inches. After measuring 60 inches, I'll be adding extra allowances here. So I'm using the full length of my tape. I'm adding what is left on my tape, which is about 62 inches. So that's what I'll be using for the length of this dress. Now as you can see, from that point, I'll be folding again. I'll be folding again into 2. So I have the length of 62 inches into 2 this way. So I'll hold this together and I'll cut it out. So after cutting out, this is what I have. I'll go ahead and I'll fold and arrange this properly. I'll hold the 2 edges together this way and I'll arrange neatly before cutting. Sorry, before marking. So once I was done arranging, this is what I have. I'll go ahead and start taking my measurements. Now at that line, I'll be going out by 3 inches for my neck width. So this 3 inches is for both the front and the back. Now I'll come down by 1.5 inch for the back neckline and I'll connect with this curve. 3 inches by 1.5 for the back. So after that, I'll come down by how deep I want my V neckline to be. I'll be working with 8 inches and I'll mark it right there. I'll take my straight ruler and I'll connect from my neck width down to the 8 inches mark. And this is what I have. So after that, I'll go in by half of my shoulder measurements. I'm working with a shoulder width of 16 inches. 16 divided by 2, I have 8 inches. I'll make a mark there. Now from that point, I will determine how long I want my sleeve to be. So I'll be working with a sleeve length of about 12 inches. I marked 12 inches there and I'll be adding an extra allowance of 2 inches, making it a total of 14 inches. So here I was basically confirming the measurements I have there. I have 8 inches for the half of my shoulder and 14 inches for my sleeve length in total. So after confirming my measurements, I went ahead from that point. I went down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope. Sorry, it's a little bit away from my camera. So from there, I'll be connecting back to my neck width. So from that point where I marked my shoulder slope, I will be coming down by 11 inches. This is how wide I want my sleeve opening to be. I'll draw a straight line from that shoulder slope point down to that 11 inches. Sorry, it's a little bit away from my camera, I'm so sorry. Now at that point where I marked my round sleeve opening, which is 11 inches, I'll just mark a straight line towards the middle of my fabric here, and I'll show you what I have shortly. So this is what it looks like. So at that line, I'll be taking my biggest circumference over there. So the biggest circumference I'm working with for this dress is 12 inches. I'll just be adding an extra 3, making it a total of 15 inches. My client is already on a big side, so I wouldn't want this bubu to be too big on her. So I'll mark 15 inches from that point there down to the end of the fabric. I'll mark 15 inches from there to the end, and I'll connect with my ruler. So once I was done connecting, this is what I have. So at this point, I wouldn't be leaving it straight and pointed that way. So I'll go out by 1 inch rather, and I'll connect with a curve. After curving, this is what I have, as you can see here. Now I'll cut out my back neckline first, cut the shoulder slope, and I'll cut the rest of this out. So while you are cutting, at this point you need to be really careful. You need to take your time when you are cutting so you will not make mistakes. So once I was done, this is what I have. So I'll go ahead and take out the back piece. Remember, we are cutting both front and back together. So I'll go ahead and take out the back piece this way to cut out my front neckline. You don't want to cut both the front and back together while you are doing this. So after cutting out the V neckline for the front, this is what I have. So I'll go ahead and cut facing pieces for both the front and the back. This is how I'll be doing that. I'll go ahead and take this piece of fabric, I'll fold into 2 this way. I will make sure to align this properly. So I'll be placing the folded parts of this fabric and the folded parts of my front piece together. I'll align this right at the neckline and I'll cut. Make sure you align this together at that folded part. So after cutting out the neckline, I'll go ahead and shape this facing. I'll shape this facing this way. As you can see, this is the front facing and this is how it is looking like. So after cutting the facing for the front, I'll go ahead and cut out the facing for the back. So I also have another piece of fabric here folded this way into 2. I'll make sure to align the folded part of my facing to the folded part of my bubu this way, and I'll just basically trace out the neckline. After tracing out the neckline, I'll take out the dress and just shape the facing this way. So this is what I have for the facing for the back. So I'll keep this aside now. I'll bring in this fabric. I'll be using this piece of fabric here to cut out my pocket. So for the length of my pocket, I'm cutting about 11 inches. And for the weight, I'm working with 7 inches. I folded this into 2, and what I have is 3.5, which will give me 7 inches. At this down part, I made this curve here at the down parts. Just make a curve at the down parts. And here I have all 4 pieces of pockets. So I'll bring in my bubu and I'll be placing this facing on it, right sides facing each other, and I'll just stitch with 1/2 inch. So I'll bring in my front, I'll place the facing the right side of my facing on the wrong side of my front piece. I'll stitch this down neatly with 1/2 inch. This is my back piece. After facing the facing, I went ahead and gave it a notch, and I also went ahead to overlock the edges this way. I'll take this and iron this out. So this is my front piece. Remember I said I added the facing to the wrong side of my bubu. So I'll still go ahead. I won't be moving this part because obviously after flipping it to the right side, the facing is now on my right side. So I'll be using the asooke to just cover it. I'll give it a notch and I'll press it. Once I was done pressing the back, this is what I have. You can see it's looking really neat. I went ahead to also place hemming gum underneath. So this is the front. After ironing, I went ahead to like make a fold at this middle. I folded this into 2 parts, and this is what I have. So this is like the most important part of this tutorial. I'll go ahead and pin this down with my pins. I'll make sure to pin down my neckline, align it properly in place so that it does not move or shift. Just go ahead and pin this basically. So after pinning this, I'll come in with my asooke. I'll look for the straightest part of my asooke and I'll pin it down as well. Just go ahead and take your pins and pin down this asooke neatly. So now after pinning, this is what I have. So after pinning the neckline of this bubu and the asooke, you're going to just align the bubu on the asooke this way, the parts that you have pinned. Align the parts of the bubu that you pinned to the parts of the asooke that you pinned together this way. Just align it properly and make sure to leave this space at the shoulder. Leave that space at the shoulder this way and just arrange this properly. You can as well go ahead and pin down. So you want to take your time and arrange this properly so that you have a perfect result by the time you open it up later. So just go ahead and go in with your pin. You don't have to be in a rush. Go in with your pin and pin this neatly. So once you are done pinning, this is what you should have. And at that point, at that center point of your bubu, just make a line there, just right at the point of your bubu. So this line will be where you are going to be stitching on. So just make a line there because that is the point you are going to be stitching on. So after making that line, from that point you're going to be coming out by 1/2 inch. So this 1/2 inch will be the line you are going to be cutting through. So the 1/2 inch you have over there will be the line you'll be cutting through. So just mark 1/2 inch all the way and connect this with your straight ruler. So like I said earlier, the first line will be the line you'll be stitching on, then this one, second line, will be the line you are cutting on, just as you see me doing this way. So I'll go ahead and also trim out this excess at the shoulder. So once I was done, I'll take out my pins. Taking out my pins, I'll go ahead and stitch on that line that I said you're going to be stitching on earlier. Sorry, at this point I lost some clips, so I won't be able to show you how I stitch this and how it looks. Just go ahead and stitch on this line. After stitching on this line, just go ahead and take it to a ironing table and press the seam open. So after pressing the seam open, you just open it up and place it on your front neckline this way. After placing, go ahead and stitch down the V parts of the neckline and the outer V part. Just stitch it down that way. Remember, you already turned the facing, so you won't be turning and flipping the ashoke. Just go ahead and make a top stitch. So once I was done with that, I went ahead to place my back piece on it this way. I'll use the facing of the back to cover up, and I'll just go ahead and join the shoulder this way. After joining, this is what I have. So I'm taking a measurement to know where I'll be fixing my pocket. So from your shoulder, just come down by your half length plus 1 inch. For instance, my half length, the half length I'm working with is 18 inches. So I added 1 to it, making it 19 inches. I just came down by 19 inches. I made a mark there. So from that point, I'll be fixing my pockets. So I folded this into two. So the notch, I folded this. I have 4 pieces there. So the notch I'll be having there, I'll be making there will be transferred to the rest of the other sides. So at this notch, I'll bring in my pocket piece. I'll place my pockets right sides facing each other, the right side of my pocket facing the right side of my fabric, and I'll just stitch this way. I'll do the same for all other pieces, the right sides of my pockets facing the right sides of my fabric. So once I was done with that, I'll bring in my ashoke. I'll be using this ashoke for the sleeve. Now the width of the ashoke I have here is 6 inches, and the length, I'll be using my round sleeve. So I have less than 12 inches for my round sleeve. So I'll measure that 12 inches and I'll cut it out. After cutting out, I'll be slashing my ashoke here at the middle. Remember, I have 6 inches at the width, so I'll be slashing this 6 inches, that's 3 inches, and I'll be using these 2 pieces for the both sides of my sleeves. So I'll go ahead and fold one part. I'll take it to my ironing table. I'll fold one part of this ashoke like this, and I'll do the same for the other one. So after folding with my iron, this is what I have. I'll bring in my bubu. I'll place this ashoke, the right side of my ashoke, on the wrong sides of my sleeve this way. I'll make a stitch with 1/2 inch, then I'll flip to the other side and top stitch. So that part that I folded in earlier with my iron, I'll just top stitch on it this way. I'll do the same for the other side, and I'll show you what I have. So basically, just use the right sides of your ashoke on the wrong side of your bubu dress. Sew in with 1/2 inch and flip to the right side and make a top stitch. And this is what I have. So basically, we are almost coming to the end of this tutorial. So if you have not liked at this point, please hit on the like button. Please subscribe to my channel for more videos. So just go ahead and close this with 1/2 inch and just hem the base of your dress, and that'll be all for this tutorial. So this is what I have. You can see my baby is looking all nice and neat. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.